I've had a few people ask me through my YouTube channel about the equipment which I've been using on my hikes and wild camps so far. And when I say a few people, I do stress it's been just that. I think it was in total 4 people that have asked. But hey, that's the benefit of following a small channel. If you guys ask me questions, I'm going to do my best to answer them for you. Now, 2 of the people that asked, they were interested in the weight of my kit. I think so that they can do a comparison between their own packs, see what I'm using, whether there's any big differences between theirs and mine, and also whether there's any big differences from a weight perspective. And the other guys that have asked, I think they're just generally curious. You know, it's an interesting topic for them and they wanted to know a little bit more about it. I appreciate in the videos which I've done so far, I haven't really gone into any great detail on the equipment which I've been using. I'm still trying to find the right balance with my videos, the different types of content which I put into them, and I think that's just an area which I've neglected so far. Going forward, I'll try and be a little bit more descriptive about what I'm using and how I'm getting on with it, but in the meantime, I thought it would be good to put together a little video just going through what I've been using so far and to give you just my opinions of it. It's not going to be reviews, it's just going to be what I've got and a brief, you know, how I'm getting on with it and whether I like it for each item. So without me babbling on anymore, let's have a look at what I've got in the bag. So the first piece of equipment is the pack itself. So this is the Osprey Kestrel 48 litre pack, and if I'm honest, I've got nothing but good things to say about this bag. It's really durable, the material's nice and thick. It survived everything I've thrown at it so far, and apart from a few bits of dirt on there, I haven't quite cleaned it off properly since my last trek. It looks absolutely fine, no damage at all. One of the things I really like about this pack is it's got lots of different pockets for storing things, because you know, you've got your main tent, sleeping bag, your sleeping mat, all of that goes in the main compartment, but you don't need that throughout the day. Things like your map, compass, water bottle, water filter, snacks, batteries, that kind of stuff, and waterproofs, for example, you want those easily accessible so you can get them quickly. And because this has got so many nice places to store things, you can keep everything nice and organised. So you've got a nice big stuff sack in the front here, which is where I tend to keep my waterproofs, so that they're easy to get at if I need them. There's a couple of pockets on the side here, great for stuffing a water bottle, or if you take camera equipment out with you, I find this is great for storing tripod, things like that. On the lid, there's 2 pockets. So there's an externally accessible one here, so the top part of the lid, and I tend to use this to store my food, so dehydrated meals, snacks, and like my instant coffees and things like that. There's also another pocket in the lid on the inside with this mesh where I store things like my map and my compass, that kind of stuff. I've also got pockets on the hip straps, and there's a compartment in the back here for a hydration bladder. I think that's fairly standard with Osprey bags, and I think it's a really nice touch. Other thing I really like about this pack is that at the bottom here it's got a built-in rain cover. Now this will keep a lot of the rain off of your bag, and it's also got a strap here so that the wind doesn't get it and blow it off down the hill. But I wouldn't rely on this for completely waterproofing your pack. It's not going to protect the bag in real driving rain, so make sure you get yourself some dry bags as well to store things like your sleeping bag and your evening clothes and things like that. It's not something I've used so far, but that's just complacency on my part, and I would advise anybody to get yourself a couple of dry bags just to make sure that the stuff you really need to stay dry does. This will take care of 90% of the problem, but you want to make sure all your bases are covered. Right, so inside the pack, so I've got my hydration bladder. Really like this. I'm useless for drinking enough water, so I find having the tube on my right there by my face means that I drink a lot more and I keep myself hydrated, whereas if I just relied on a water bottle, I probably wouldn't be so good at it. So this lives in the aforementioned pouch, and this is a 2 litre one that I got from Amazon. No particular brand, I just bought it off the weight of reviews, and it's served me well so far. Next we have my insulated waterproof jacket. So really happy with this. This is by a brand called Berghaus. I think that's how you pronounce it. You'll recognise the brand when you see it. And this has done me really well. It's really warm and it's waterproof. All the rain that I've been out in so far, this has kept me nice and dry. And I haven't found that I've got too sweaty in it as well, so it seems like it's reasonably breathable. This was another Go Outdoors purchase. I think it was about £80. Going forward, I want to get myself a separate waterproof and a separate warm jacket, but for a beginner option, something like this is really good. The only downside I can list with this is that it's a little bit bulky. It doesn't pack down very small, so it takes up a bit of room in your bag, but that's a small niggle really. But it's a really nice jacket, and it's served me well so far, and I will continue to use this going forward. What's next? Okay, so JetBoil is next. When the very first wild camp I did, I had a £20 kind of cook set from Amazon, which is a little gas burner and 2 pots which stacked on top of each other. And that was okay, especially for the money. It wasn't a very expensive outlay, but it didn't cope very well in the wind. I could have got myself a windshield, and if you're on a budget, then that is what I would advise you to do. Just get a cheaper gas stove and a windshield and you'll probably be fine. I just decided to treat myself to this. I knew that I'm going to need boiling water for dehydrated meals, tea, coffee, all that kind of stuff, and all the reviews I read on JetBoil just kind of confirmed that if you just want to boil water, something like this is going to do you proud. And it has done. It's been very good, very efficient, very reliable. So if you have the budget for one of these, I'd certainly recommend it. But if you're getting into this and you don't have the budget, you do not need one of these. Just sort yourself out, whatever stove you can afford, and just make it work. It'll be fine. So we've got some clothes now. When I started off, I didn't really have any camping equipment at all. So most of my budget, if not all of my budget, went into buying things like tents and sleeping bags, backpacks, that kind of stuff that I didn't have a substitute for. But with some of the clothing, it's not the best clothing for hiking and camping, but it's better than nothing. So some of my clothes, it's just random stuff that I've pulled out of my wardrobe. With the exception of this one, this is a merino wool mid-layer. Got it from Go Outdoors. I don't know what the brand is because it's rubbed off the label, but this was about £20, and this is a really good investment because it's really warm, it's not itchy at all, and it's very comfortable to wear. So I save this generally for the evenings, as with most of these clothes. So once I've got my camp set up and the night is drawing in, it's starting to get cooler, I tend to change into this lot because normally I'm wearing shorts and t-shirt when I'm out on my hikes. These are just pyjama bottoms. I'm not a big pyjama person, but my wife bought these for me a couple of years ago, and whilst I hardly ever used them, when I started going out hiking and camping, I thought, well, these would be great to take along because they keep my legs nice and warm. They're a little bit heavy, they're a little bit bulky, but they are better than wearing shorts on a cold night, that's for sure. And if it's windy, I normally just pair them up with my waterproof trousers. So the waterproofs keep the wind off and these keep my legs warm. I've got just a jumper. This is from Burton or something. So I just looked through all my jumpers and I picked this one because it was reasonably light and packed down reasonably small compared to the others. That was the only thought process that went into it. I've got a big pair of thermal socks. So again, these go on in the evenings. I normally sleep with these on as well if it's particularly cold. These were again cheapo job off of Amazon, but they're really warm, really nice. Definitely recommend that. and got myself a pair of gloves as well. I made a little bit of a cock up when I bought these. I thought that they were more slimline. As you can see, they're fairly bulky gloves. It's fine, they are warm, they are nice and warm, it just limits what you can do with your hands a little bit because they're pretty big and thick, but I've only needed to use these once so far and they kept me nice and warm, and I'd rather have warm hands and not be able to do so much with them than freezing cold hands and not be able to do anything with your hands anyway because they've gone numb. Next we have my sleeping mat. Again, the very first camp I went on, I bought a cheapo airbed off of Amazon. Pretty much went for one of the cheapest I could find, and it was naff. I had a horrible night's sleep, so I thought, I read up on how important it is to have a decent sleeping mat, and I decided to go with this one. This is an EXPED ULM Winter air mat. It's got an R value of, I think it's mid to high 5s, so it's not quite an X-Therm, but it's not far behind. I think this is rated down to -18 degrees, which it seems ample for this country, and it was a bit cheaper than the X-Therm as well. It came in, I think, about £140 versus more like 200 for the X-Therm. And so far, really happy with this. It's really comfortable, incredibly warm. It comes with a pump sack, so you can blow it up. As they say that you shouldn't really blow straight into these because the moisture in your breath will promote mould growing, and I find it takes sort of 4 to 5 sackfuls of air to get this blown up. And again, really happy with it. It's very good. It's kept me very warm and comfortable, which is all I can ask for, really. Next on the agenda, we have a couple of what are sometimes regarded as luxury items. So I've got a little lantern. This is I believe, a black diamond Moji lamp, and really like this. I just like having ambient light in the tent. I can turn this on and leave it going. Tent looks nice when it's glowing in the dark, and it's also good, if you go off for a bit of a wander for whatever reason when it's dark. It's nice and easy to find a tent again. It doesn't weigh very much, and some consider a luxury, but I wouldn't leave without this anymore. And again, this is not a luxury, this is a necessity in my opinion, and it's a Trekology Aluft pillow. Needs no real introduction. Lots of people use this, and it was the reason I bought it, was having seen so many different people using it. Personally, I don't go out camping to be uncomfortable. I want to have a good night's sleep when I'm out, or at least as good a night's sleep as is possible. So a decent sleeping mat, decent sleeping bag, and a pillow is, I regard these as essential items. When I first got this, I used to blow it all the way up, and I found it a little bit uncomfortable. Now I use it about half full. So if you get yourself one of these, experiment with different inflation levels to see what's most comfortable for you. And next is my water filter. So this is a bit different to like the Sawyers and Catadins out there, in that it's a pump filter. So you've got 2 pipes or tubes and a little pump handle here. So very quickly put that on there. So this end has got a little strainer and a float, so you chuck this in a river or puddle or whatever you're pulling water from. This end goes in whatever is collecting your fresh water, and then you sit and pump this handle, and it draws water through the filter into your clean water receptacle. I really like this. It's not as light as the Sawyer and things like that, but I find it really handy if you're filling up something like a hydration bladder. And if there's going to be more than one of you, I think a filter like that really would come into its own, because you can pump away and fill up loads and loads of containers of water very easily. I think we're getting near the bottom now. So we've got the sleeping bag next. This is the Evolution Fathom EV 300. This is a 3-season sleeping bag, and it's got a comfort limit of 1 degree, a limit, I believe, of, what is it? Limit of -5 and an extreme of -22. Comes in a very striking yellow and grey colour. And this again was from Go Outdoors, and it was about £40. So it's a synthetic bag, as you can imagine, for that price. But again, you know, no frills, but comfortable bag. It's kept me warm. I've been out in it about 6 nights now, and I haven't had a real problem with it. Pretty standard fare for a sleeping bag. It's got a zip on the side, and then the hood has a drawstring on it. So you know you can kind of cocoon yourself if you like to sleep like that. Really good option on a budget. Yeah, really good. Recommend that one if you're looking for a sleeping bag and don't want to drop serious cash on it. I think this is the last thing now, which is the ubiquitous OEX Fox 2 tent. It's quite a popular tent. About £70 again from Go Outdoors. It's a budget tent. Don't believe the website when it says it's reduced from £170. It's not a £170 tent at all, but for a £70 tent it's a very good one. It's quick to put up, it's pretty sturdy, it's waterproof. From a space perspective, it's got lots of space this way and this way if you use it as a one-person tent. Head space, not so great. I'm 5'10", and if I sit up in the tent, then my head is, you know, it's touching the roof of the tent. But what are you going to do for 70 quid? It's got enough. If you use it as one-man tent, it's got plenty of room. You could get 2 people in it, but it'd be a bit cosy, and you wouldn't have very much room for your kit. But one-man tent is a bit palatial, really, and I really like it. It's served me really well. Hasn't let me down. It's kept me dry. It's kept me out of the elements. And yeah, again, if you're on a budget and you're looking for something, you know, not too expensive to get yourself started, then have a look at this one. I'm not going to go into much more detail about it. There are an absolute ton of videos out on YouTube about this tent, so if you want to know more about it, go and have a look at those, because they go into really good detail and will give you a, you know, a much better impression of what this tent is like. And I think, let me just double check. Yeah, that is it, apart from just the tent poles. I store the tent poles separately because normally I try and pack the tent down a bit smaller, so I keep the poles separate. So pretty much all we've got left to go through now is this kind of mesh pouch here. So in here I have a couple of GoPro batteries. I've got my head torch, has a red light and flashing. Yeah, I've had this for ages. It was just I got it out of the shed when I first went, and I haven't used it yet, if I'm honest. But I think as the months go on and the evenings get shorter, then this will start getting used more. Needs no introduction. The trowel, again, I haven't used it yet, but take one with you because you will inevitably need to at some point. So I've got first aid kit here. I mean, that says blister kit on it. I bought it originally as a blister kit, but I've put some other bits in there, like antiseptic wipes, some ibuprofen, paracetamol, some different plasters. You know, just general first aid kit stuff. I've got some sun cream, compass. As things stand at the minute, I'm only really out on Dartmoor, so I've got my Dartmoor map. This is an Explorer, OS Explorer version, which is waterproof. Or at least it feels like it's waterproof, it's all laminated, so that's cool. And last but not least, I've got a power bank. It's a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, and that will charge my phone up 2.5 times over, so it should be all I need for short hikes. There we go, that's everything. So now we've been through everything that's in the pack, I just wanted to finish off by weighing it so you can see what this all comes to. So let's get it on the scales. Right, so I can't see if this is being picked up by the camera or not. What have we got here? So that's, for me, it's a 9.385, 9.4 kilos. So I guess that's the base weight. So you need to bear in mind that you're going to have water and food on top of that. So my Camelback holds 2 litres, so that's another 2 kilos of water. And generally for me, for a day and a night, I carry about half a kilo of food. So that'll be a couple of freeze-dried meals, some instant coffee, tea, hot chocolate, etc., and a few little snacks. So I'd say about half a kilo seems fair for that, but we'll round it up a little bit. So all in all, that comes in at about 12 kilos, which I don't think is too bad. Fully loaded, I think it's a reasonably comprehensive set of kit, at least I think it is. Obviously I could be completely wrong. 12 kilos, not too bad. Obviously there's a lot of room for improvement there if you wanted to drop the weight of the pack down. A lot of the stuff that I'm using in this particular set of kit is relatively budget, and the cheaper something is in the camping world, the more heavy it's going to be. It's just the way it is. But 12 kilos, I don't think that's really going to break anyone's back. It's a reasonable weight, fully loaded, I think. But I'd be really interested to know, what are you guys using? Is my kit, is it similar to yours? Is there anything you think that this particular set of kit is missing? Is there anything I'm using that you didn't think of to use? Who knows? I'd be really interested to know. Not just for me, I mean, I'm still learning and I'm really interested in what other people are doing and what they're using, but also for anybody else that's watching this video, if you've got something valuable to add, by all means drop a comment below. I'd love to read it, love to respond, and I'm sure it would be useful for other people that may come across this video in the future. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope it's been an interesting little tour of the kit that I've been using. If this is the first video you've watched from my channel, then please head over to my main channel page where you'll be able to have a look through some of the hikes where I've actually used this kit so you can see it in action. But as always, thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.